don't know, it's really hard to explain. And then you hung out with her the other night. I don't know what you were talking about because I just stopped listening. So you were like about inclusions and Bob Lazar and the fucking...
Yeah, we were talking about this lady, Diana Pasolka, who was on the podcast, she's a religious scholar, and she was talking about how there is a growing theory that these experiences people are having with UFOs, UAPs, alien abductions, that this is not something from another planet. It's something that's always been here. It's an interdimensional being that there's a bunch of different variables that have to come into play for these things to be able to pass forth into our realm, but that they're somehow or another monitoring us and have always been, and that these crash retrievals, they call them donations.
Best post-sex conversation I've ever had. Donald Brogan was right. I want to be angels with you up in heaven.
Yeah,
that's cool as fuck. Yeah, she hung out with Joe for fucking 10 minutes, and then we had sex, and she was like, she was like, hey, I love that idea. But yeah, there's angels are real. It's cool.
I think if you stopped and thought about how many cultures believe in some greater power that's above everything that they intuitively know is guiding you in a moral and ethical direction, there's got to be something to it.
Yeah,
there's something to it.
Agree. Suck my dick, Louis C.K. You're right. He can suck my dick. He doesn't suck your dick because he doesn't believe in anything.
Well, that's a fair way to believe. No, you want to just do it based entirely on evidence. That's a very reasonable perspective.
Atheist. Because he's like, you're just making up a reason. It's this. Yeah, but I like that more. I like that more.
I think the universe is God.
So
that's what I think. Keep going. I think this idea of God creating the universe is silly.
I think we're part of God's brain.
I think it's God in the fact that it's the entire creation of everything that exists that we can measure. That is the universe. And if you read the Bible talks about in the beginning there was light. Boy, that sounds a lot like the Big Bang. Boy, that sounds a lot like the birth of the universe. I think these fucking people that wrote the Bible were recounting stories that were told down to people that had a scientific understanding of the birth and death of the universe, just like we do now. Maybe even more than we do now. And then they got hit by asteroids. And then it was thousands of years before civilization reestablished itself. And the stories had been told down, handed down forever and ever. And by the time people wrote them down, they were goofy. And they were goofy, and it's like God created the earth in 6 days, and the whole story of Adam and Eve. And there's probably a lot to all of it that's true. And it's probably a historical record that was told to people that were essentially barbarians that were surviving from the collapse of a superior civilization, superior to what we have today. And there's a lot of real physical evidence of that. There's a lot of archaeological evidence of that. And it seems to be a direction that a lot of people are headed into when they understand how often we get hit with asteroids. Somewhere around 11,800 years ago, we got pelted, and it stopped civilization in its tracks, and we had to rebuild from scratch.
Come on. I don't even know where I am. That sucks horribly.
The monsters, the Mongols, and the fucking hordes, and the barbarians. They were the most harsh people, because that was the only way you survived, because there was no longer a technologically advanced civilization. It was all this barbarism, and there's very few animals to eat, because there's a nuclear winter, because the sky is filled with the impact of this massive meteor that slams into Earth and kills 70% of all the people. And then about 6,000 years later, they start figuring out mathematics again.
Wow. This is why I started this podcast.
That's what I did.
What do you think as you grew up religious? What is your take on...
I feel like I was like right
God, you gave up your Lord. Yeah, they said the years were different. So when they said it was created 5,000 years ago, they're like,
that's water. No water was this way.
Like this guy lived to 260, but like that's just, I don't know, some seasons past.
When they wrote that, they didn't even have a sundial.
Right. So they're like, how old are you? Like, we don't have calendars. So do you believe in a higher power? No. Why? What do you mean, why? What happens when you die? Why to a belief. What happens when you die? When you die, I won't forget you. I'll be Harold. You know I've worked really hard, so that doesn't happen. That's one of my biggest things about working is I wonder, because they say you died twice. You die when you die, and then you die when the last person that remembers you dies. I try to go to graveyards. I try to look at the graveyards and see who they are and try to say their name and keep them alive a little longer.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's creepy.
So there's monsters here. That means
sometimes I call my dead friends and there's phone numbers.
Because they like to steal your shit.
They never got that number again?
Well,
that's interesting. I don't like the death thing. I don't believe in it.
No, it was hacking, but you don't drop that loot, so I don't care.
I have one phone that I keep active because I have a text message chain from Anthony Bourdain and a voicemail from a buddy of mine who died.
I'm just gonna run around until I find my stuff.
No, Dave Dolan, my and the private investigator friend, was the funniest guy I ever met that never did stand up. I was an amateur comic, and he was a private investigator that lost his driver's license because he was drunk driving. So he needed an assistant. So he asked, we really just needed someone to drive him. And so I was like, private investigator's assistant, that'd be a cool job. So I just started working for this guy. And he died a few years back, and he left me a voicemail. It's fucking awesome.
What was the last text Anthony Bourdain sent you?
Oh, that's a good question. No, there was a restaurant, and I took a photo of this chef that was prominently figured on the wall. I go, who's this guy? And it's Pierre White.
I'm pretty sure I passed my house and went over here and died.
Google that guy. He's one of the most extraordinary chefs that's like ever existed.
That's where I got water from.
He's like a true artistic genius. That's
oh my god!
I'm
so sorry.
Yeah, he's English. He's amazing. He's
a
really fascinating guy. There's a ton of videos of him talking about food.
Oh, we should find my
stuff. The way he approaches food is the way Rembrandt approached paintings.
Oh my stuff!
He's a wizard. I mean, he's legitimate. He's 100% all in. I believe now the way he sets up these insane restaurants. I think he's using now from a farm, if I remember. Like he runs.
Oh my god, the odds of finding that was so low.
That's where they source all of their ingredients. From that. Love it. And,
I didn't even think they were here at all.
They set the menu. I mean, it's just, it's cuisine taken to a level of precision that it just doesn't. It's not just food. The food experience I had in Asia, by the way, was unbelievable. Yeah, I saw your post. It was
the third time I've gotten it.
A lot of it was that Philip Lee was there.
I didn't realize it was around. No one's wearing masks.
Oh, that's amazing. He's been there a month. Oh, that's amazing. So we went to an omakase sushi place for lunch that I was like, this is absolutely insane. A teppanyaki place at a hotel. Here's one of the things.
Oh, my dick's hard.
Oh my god. So teppanyaki, he said this thing that I was like, oh, I didn't realize this.
What's going on?
That in the States, a lot of times when you stay at a hotel, you go, we got to get out of the hotel to find something good to eat, right? Like a hotel restaurant, you're like, this shit. Yeah. But the thing in Tokyo is that hotels, like your fucking Hyatt hotel, has a restaurant that you're like, I wish I could eat here every night. Like the food, it's that thing of like the ingredient is the star. So like a salad, you have a basic salad. The tomato is like the best tomato you've ever had. The lettuce, we had king crab. They go, do you want king crab at this teppanyaki place? And I was like, yeah, I like king crab. And I'm thinking of it all the times I've had it before. And they bring it out raw. It had just been brought in from a ship earlier that day. And then they just season it, put a little butter on the griddle there. It was the best. I never had anything like that before. The Wagyu Mafia, which is like a theater performance. It's 6 tabletop, and it's just 13 different variations of Wagyu beef. Wow. I mean, and then we went to Hong Kong, and there's this place called Newport Club. It's a 1-star Michelin place, Indian food.
Japanese. Don't know Japanese.
What's 1-star mean?
So 1-star, it's like, there's 3-star possibilities. So 1-star is that this is, if it's accessible to you, it's worth going to eat here.
Okay.
2 stars is like, it's worth going out of your way to eat here. 3 stars is it's worth making a trip to go to this place just to eat here.
Oh, so it's one of those.
So we went to a 3-star in Singapore that was called Zen, that was just unbelievable. But in Hong Kong, that Indian place, their kitchen was smaller than the space we're in right now. Whoa. And they had how many seats? They had probably 6 tables, and they had a cylinder, like a ceramic cylinder, and they brought us into the kitchen with coal down there, and they just take sticks and they put them in there with chicken and beef and everything, and it gets to like, fuck, I don't know, 1,000 degrees in there. But every dish came out, and you're like, this is, everything we ate was like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten, you know? Wow. But the 3-star in Singapore really was one of those experiences where the experience starts when you walk in.
When you walk in.
You know, waiting room experience. Did you ever see the movie The Menu? Yes.
Good.
Isn't it amazing? I love that. It's such a good
Me and Bobby Kelly went to Noma in Copenhagen.
No.
Just that Noma's the motherfucker, right? Yeah. It was like best restaurant 3 out of 5 years. And the guy was like, we were at a festival. He's like, let's just go see it. Then gonna get you. And he goes, hey, these guys are comedy comedians visiting. Wait, hold on. Is this pre-lap band surgery? Oh yeah. Oh fuck yeah. Anyway, I'm taking a nap, get a call. We got a cancellation for lunch. You want to come in? And I was like, yeah. Call Bobby. He's with the promoter. Bobby's like, nah, we have a short pizza. And the guy hit him in the face. Said, put that pizza down and go over there right now. And Bobby said, I'll eat the pizza also. 26-course lunch. They don't have lemons because it's not local. They don't want it. Everything's local. Yeah. So we use ants that give you that lemony zest. Ants. Fried moss. Ants.
Don't know where I am.
And there was a pairing.
I don't have no idea what my character was.
Fried moss. It's great. There was a booze pairing. Bobby's like, I can't eat because we have a juice pairing for you. There's no level that they won't accommodate to make an experience. When we were in the kitchen, there were 3 guys.
Maybe I was going to have 3 foods run into me in a row.
And I was like, who are those guys? They're like, they're high-level chefs. I'm like, what are they doing? They don't want that shit getting stuck in your teeth.
This texture pack,
the you wish you could share. You wish you could share this experience with everybody. Like, just so they get to have something like this.
Yeah. And you just do it. You don't think twice. It's amazing. All right. What's better? It's sushi in Japan, or like that high-end sushi, or pasta in Europe. And when you're in Italy, and the local food's good too. No, but I mean, like what? Like, if you
why does everything have to be a competition with you, Bert?
I'm just trying to start a conversation. Starting to 16. Yeah, some of that shit's great too. A local, small, like handmade pasta, handmade tortillas.
Listen, man.
Tacos.
If I had 2 foods to choose for the rest of my life, only based on flavor, it's Italian and Mexican. No. Asian's great, but I like to get drunk. I like a fucking burrito. Yeah. I like
tortillas or
remember those chicken burritos we used to get in San Diego when we go to La Jolla?
Or Carlos?
Oh. Did you ever go to that's like that really
He's like died, yeah.
Sauce that was on the chicken.
Oh my God. So I know what to look for, huh?
No, it's a parking lot with a hut, like a stand, looked like where you would go to get a parking ticket. That's the kitchen. Whoa. And she got the James Beard Award.
Really?
Yeah. Really? And it's like just tacos the way she made them in
yeah. And I guarantee those chefs of that would love to eat it because
if it wasn't for the fact that it's not good
fuck
for
you, bitch. I found my stuff and then I die.
Every day. Mexican food.
100% that's my stuff.
If food
come on,
was
go down.
calories purely and there was no nutrition.
That is the most annoying because those fucking ladders, they're the worst.
Good for your body and bad for your body.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've eaten pizza and pasta all day long. Yeah, that's what I've eaten. Lasagna.
I'm getting used to finding my shit like that area.
Food was equal.
Like I could do it instinctually now. Just follow.
What's the one with the egg yolk in it?
I'm gonna say it was fine.
Oh yeah, they mixed with carbonara.
Frying,
carbonara is the fuck.
Have you eaten at Felix in Venice?
No, I've never.
Fuck you, asshole. Hate rain.
Evan Funky.
What the fuck? Who?
Now he's got Mother Wolf. He's got.
I've been to Mother Wolf.
Oh my God. I don't even think about going gluten-free when I go to that joint.
No, Mother Wolf is the shit.
Real? Yeah. Let that carnivore diet go fuck itself. Like we're here for Mount Pleasure.
Damn.
Evan is a wizard. He's been on the podcast before.
He has?
Yeah, he's a wizard.
It's just like they're artists.
Nighttime now.
I'm thinking about it another level. Brother, Roy Choi, friend of Tom and I used to eat lunch for dinner with Roy Choi all the time. The next door
We'll go home and sleep.
Revolutionized taco trucks. Good
I'm just gonna die.
He said to me one time, we went to dinner for his daughter's birthday, and he said,
if I can't find my way back home anyway, when I do get my stuff, I'm gonna die.
Really? He said, I'm going vegan for a year. So I feel like meat has dominated my palate, and I want to really challenge my palate. Wow. Find flavor. Those guys do it for me. And then you go, wow, that's dedication to the craft. That's fucking next level, man. That's the fucking thing. Dumb. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, it's like, or dumb. Go eat squash first. I can eat ribeye steaks 365 days. Yeah, I got a solid 5. Give me 2 cents. Okay, let's go. No, they're rogues. They're 2 rogues. Tell me how it is.
They're the best.
They're the best.
They're the best.
I know you do.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. I think too. I'm into 24 milligrams.
Hey. It dropped on the ground.
Take it off the fucking ground.
Don't be scared
with your mouth. Do it with your mouth.
There's only random people from all walks of life.
Ari said that to you many times.
Yeah,
Already pissed.
At least
the seating choice for protect my parks.
You're not what?
I love the seating choice for protect my parks.
Why? I don't know. I like you where you are. Right here.
Yeah.
Switch it up.
Seriously. I don't love sunglasses either.
No, they have to go sunglasses when they get fucked up. It lets Shane be Shane. It lets Tim Dillon be Tim Dillon. You gotta give a band the option of sunglasses.
You have to. Really?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Yeah,
There's like how a lot of people.
Look at that cock. Here, let me show you mine.
He's gonna piss into a jar. Here's a bag. Ari. No, it's not a closer one. No, don't do that.
You got a lot of sack, bro.
You gotta piss in a bottle again.
Not a great dick.
Your sack looks like you lost 500 pounds.
God, I can see that.
Yeah, like you just found in your sack. So let's all the way.
Let's go viral.
I'm not showing my dick. I'm a grown man.
Are your balls bigger than your dick?
No, they're regular.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I'm coming.
I'm not showing you my
Nope.
dick. I'm a grown man.
No.
Good for you, Joe.
You come.
I was kind of worried.
I
Just
really
like
don't have a thing, man. Don't piss in the fucking.
David, come up.
Just,
Why don't you go to the bathroom?
because it doesn't fit his
This
personality.
Take your headphones off and go walk out. Ari, go walk out. Don't piss in my mug.
I'll take it.
Just walk them both out now. Like you should have just left before.
No one
If
likes
you have
that.
left,
Why
do you
did
really
you
have
do
a good
that?
gauge?
Yeah, it's done. I was
You
gonna
know
get
what?
the tops of bubbles.
I just tell you that, like, when you have to piss and you do piss, it's one of the great feelings of life. It's so good, and it's one of those things that we're ashamed of, so we don't talk about it. Like we really appreciate a good, solid piss.
Yeah.
Have you been drinking beer?
It's zippered up.
Don't zip your dick in your. How many times have you done that? Caught your dick in your zipper?
I've done that.
That stopped me from going bareback. I thought like bareback was like a wild person's way to do it. I don't need no fucking underwear. I'm not a pussy. Do you know underwear? A couple times I caught my dick in my zipper. I know. I pulled your dick out in front of everybody at Vulcan.
I know.
You did? I pantsed him. During Till Tony. His ass was hanging out. I was like, let's go. Yeah, you get a little shaft caught in a zipper, that'll change you.
That'll do.
No?
It's really good. It's fucking.
It's like you need underwear. You need underwear. Underwear are important. Keep it together.
No.
Okay.
Well, you just feel great though, huh? Especially in a suit pant. If we're one of those Sikh things.
You feel like a wild person. Your dick's just flopping around.
Yeah. I must feel good with no underwear.
Remember those days where the girls were getting caught getting out of limos with their pussies?
Yeah.
On purpose. 100%. The camera was literally like focused on their vagina. Yeah. Like from down low. Imagine it's like a wildlife photographer. See if this jaguars are gonna come out. Yeah. They did. It was like
so good.
They figured out how to be viral. Early on, just show your pussy. That was so fascinating to me when I learned that a lot of those people that are always in paparazzi, that they
And they're innocent.
give a heads up to the paparazzi. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that originally. And you're like, oh, they call. They're like,
Hey, I'm having a beard.
And then they go,
pictures. Yeah, exactly.
Jesus,
How do you do paparazzi?
how do I deal with them?
Like, do you engage or do you just tap out?
I mean, the only thing I think I deal with is probably autograph people, which is
You've never had like paparazzi come up to you?
Yeah, I did it on Melrose and in LA, but they're not like.
Are you generous or are you just like, hey, go play yourself?
No, TMZ guys are good guys. They're good guys. I've known a few of them that were
yeah.
comics.
I don't even care.
Like, headphones?
Yeah,
I'm dying on purpose so I can get through the night. I can't do this. Nighttime shit is so annoying.
Hey, man, you're done with the day. Can I get an interview with you on TMZ? I was like, yeah, sure. I talked to her for about 20 minutes.
And now it's gonna rain. I don't even want to play because it's been raining for 5 fucking days. Thank you.
That's a good move. There was like 20 of them outside of a store once, and then they all surrounded me, and I was like, "You're not here for me." And they're like, "No, so
It sucks because a bunch of zombies picked up my stuff, and I guarantee they're not there anymore.
Most of them are just people, man. And then they also get abused all the time. But some of them,
if my shit's even there.
Some of them like, invading privacy.
Yeah.
If shit falls, it stays for like hours. Probably
tapped into their email.
It stays a while. And then if your shit doesn't, like, it'll just disappear immediately.
Listening to every phone.
And there was stuff there. So.
100%.
I think of that.
Yeah, and still send memes. Shut the fuck up. I'll defend these in court, bitch. These are funny.
What's his name? Pete Lee. Yeah, Pete Lee. You know the story maybe better than I do. Or the comic. Pete Lee, the comic. He had a stalker who was trying to kill him. Oh boy. And it was really bad that he had to go to court. And he had talked apparently about the stalker on Legion of Skanks. And they read the transcripts of Legion of Skanks in court. No. And it oh my God! In court, they were laughing. And they're like, "Fuck, this guy's guilty."
Did you hear that story Norton told on the podcast?
No.
Norton had a legal issue with this guy that he criticized on the podcast, and he read this.
Go into detail.
I'm doing that. They read the transcript during the podcast, and people were laughing, and the guy got humiliated, so he decided to settle the case. That guy went on to shoot a judge's son. He went to the house, pretending he was like a delivery guy, and shot the son of this judge. He was trying to kill the judge. And then she got away, or she wasn't there. I don't remember what happened. But this is the same guy that Norton was involved in a lawsuit with for making fun of.
He was a woman's advocate.
A
man's advocate.
Men's rights
advocate. So I think he's the same person that protested Eliza. If I'm not mistaken.
Holy shit.
Having an all-female show, yeah.
Suspect in fatal shooting at home of Judge Esther Salas described himself as an anti-feminist lawyer, once argued a case before the judge.
Oh, Esther's a female name.
Yeah, well, she was a female judge. He showed up at her house and killed her son. It's so crazy, man. That's really scary. Yeah, that's terrible.
I love that Jim Norton is happy.
I'm glad you love that he's happy.
I love it. I love seeing him happy, man. It makes me so happy. Another glass of water for you.
I was worried you were going to go piss in that. Yeah, Jesus
Christ.
Guys, grow the fuck up.
Why does it look so different?
Everybody pees with a solid glass of piss right next to your right arm.
Alright, what's that blowing up my
stuff? The thing he's doing with
that is so creepy, though.
On YouTube?
Yeah, I love it. I'm glad you love it.
I love it, man. I'll say this out loud. I love seeing people succeed. I love seeing people win. I love Flowers.
Jim's underrated.
Hardcore.
He's underrated.
He's one of the best comics of our generation. His heyday on Opie and Anthony.
He made Opie and Anthony.
He made it. That's an understatement right there.
He made it. It was weird to me that it was Opie and Anthony and Jim was on it. I was like, it seems kind of weird.
I think they had their show for years before. Then
I know.
It wasn't what it was until Jim showed up.
Yeah.
They were in Boston. They never had the comedians they had. I mean, respectfully, I love Opie and Anthony. I love those guys. I was a fan of the show. But that group of comics that was on it, the reason this podcast is what it is today, in all fairness, is because of that fucking show, but it's also because of Jim. Yeah, it's because that show gave people the opportunity to just hang out.
That is bull fucking shit.
It was just like, bull fucking you could just hang out with comics. There was no script.
There was no script.
They just allowed us to fuck around.
Also, they were cool about, like,
that guy up.
Headliner's name, and they were like, who's this? Like,
everything I fucking had.
Yeah, I would tell them, I got a funny guy who's coming with me. I'm going to bring him in.
They'd be like, cool. Okay, Tommy.
Every arrow I had, every fucking sword broke on him, everything.
Not ready for it. I was not a fan of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't know? I knew about the show, but I didn't listen to it. I didn't know about it. Oh, no. And I went in there, and I said a couple words, and I just kind of sat in the pocket. And then Ricky Gervais came in.
Oh, wow.
And then I started talking to Ricky. as the show was going on.
Just like, hey, what's going on? What are you planning?
That episode. Oh no! While the show was happening.
Yeah.
And then you realized your mic was on.
Kind of. And then and Ricky and I just kept talking, and then I'd look over and I'd see the guys like, "What are you fucking doing?"
Yeah, you might be the most epically, in retrospect, horrific comic to ever do radio. What? Without a doubt, because Tom has never given a fuck about anything ever in his life, ever. Okay. When you did Bob and Tom, they like write out your things you want to say, and Tom was like, "I'll just figure it out."
Yeah, they asked me to do that too.
I would never give a fuck.
They asked me to do that too. I'm like, I'm not doing that. The producer got really upset.
I got upset.
See, upset. Like, and I go, we're gonna figure it out. No, they didn't.
I'm not that kind of comic.
This is like it. This is nonsense. You're doing some 1985 nonsense.
They didn't like that at all.
And this is not 1985. Get out of here.
They were nice, but they were. Tom was doing that before anyone else. Like, with absolute love, when you see all the comics coming on and fucking up radio and TV that they're doing now, it's a little bit based on the fact that you really did not give a fuck.
Hang on. A lot of guys didn't, including Tracy Morgan.
Oh, Tracy Morgan, hold on. Tracy Morgan
better than anyone. He was slapping money out his belly. He was like, someone's getting pregnant. Someone's getting pregnant. He would be slapping his belly. That's my main call.
My philosophy on it was basically, I think podcasts, radio, television can go really well based on the host's interest.
Yeah.
And so what I had was, I had a real, like, personal fuck you to a host that was like, I don't really care who you are or what you're doing here. This is what we do. And so if they were like, you're at the club this week? I would go, yeah. Right. And then they were like, be funny. And I'd be like, why don't you go suck your fucking mom's dick? And then they would go like, what's
That's a business partner right there.
So that's why you came out with DJ Dadmouth.
That was why DJ Dadmouth came out. It was like,
so it came out to this specific person?
That came out just because I was like, I don't want to do this.
I don't want to
do it.
Only contractually obligated?
So what they would end up doing is the Funny Bones would go, hey, if you would do this, you know, we bring people every week, no matter whether they're big or small, selling tickets or not. So like when I started to sell tickets, they'd be like, they go, your shows are sold out this week. I'd be like, cool. Like, and you're doing Good Morning Hartford tomorrow. And I'd be like, why? And they're like, because we do it every week. And I go, but it's not to sell tickets, right? Because the tickets are sold.
It's just to promote the club.
Yeah, so they're like, no, but get up at 5 and go do it. And I'm like, all right. So that kind of came from that. But before that, I'm saying like even like I did Kimmel last night. When you go there, you're like, all right, I'm going to, like, you know, you do a pre-interview with a producer. It still rides on the fact that he's engaged and wants it to go well.
I just want to get my shit and go home.
It was really fun, and it went well. But in the radio days...
I feel like the mushroom is already growing back. I can't find that thing.
Sometimes
anyway, fuck off, dude. Those guys seem to be alive. Where is my shit?
They come in,
I found it twice.
And they're like, they know questions, they know what you've been doing.
I don't even know where I
makes
am.
the experience fun.
They're fun.
I took a wrong
But you
turn
go into
somehow.
places where they're just like, they're literally like, you're from Cincinnati, and you go,
I'm not in the right area. I've never been here, ever.
Trying to lead
so like,
I don't want to break any more mushrooms because
so
I'm looking for
I
a
didn't
broken
go
mushroom. That's where my shit
if I
is.
left that place,
Next to a half fucked
the
up
hosts were
mushroom.
like, I didn't really like it.
Playground.
Like, I don't give a shit.
It's probably
You
all
know,
grown in the grass.
You're fucking dancing.
Bring that horse into the grave. I love that about you, is that you got to remember, this is before, when you were doing that, the only white person was doing that. Tracy Morgan was a famous person would go in and be wild on thing, and everyone would fucking love. We share with each other.
Tracy was the best.
Tom was doing it in earnest.
Once you do, get 'em off the ground.
If I knew at the same
You
time,
lose
I
out
was
that
going to
big
the same
ass thing,
places and being like,
These trees are awesome.
Morgan one.
Great way to get wood.
Look at me on that.
Look at that.
I want to get my shit, dude.
I can see why I got so many
It's almost
kids.
nighttime.
Texas El Paso, I'm telling you, man, I went to Jaguars last night. I love
Oh,
the ladies here.
wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so again, not family
Somebody
entertainment
gonna
necessarily.
get pregnant. Somebody gonna get pregnant while I'm in town. 2 days, watch. 2 days, somebody gonna get pregnant.
So, yeah, Tracy. It's always these guys, you know, it's the same guy in every market.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
They're loving it. They're loving it. And Tom would go in and do that But he would do it his own way, you know? And it was so fucking awesome, man. Because so many of us, myself included,
I had all my shit together.
No, I disagree. What you would do is you would go in with fun energy.
Sunset, I'm down. No food.
I would drink on those.
You go, yeah.
I just gotta leave buckets of water and everything. Hope I find them in a month now.
What's your hard month?
We're celebrating Tommy.
What? In February?
Fuck,
we try to do it in February. Ours trying to move to London to let those bitches know.
Hey, are you guys gonna run our 5K?
Wait, is it a specific place or just wherever you are? I want to bike it.
5K by May.
Where is it?
Jelly Roll's doing it. Campaign's doing it.
Is it a specific place or just anywhere?
We're gonna do a 5K.
Where? We're picking a spot.
We haven't announced it yet.
Let's do it in Australia.
Louis doing it.
Great call.
Snobby's doing it.
They're all gonna run. Tim Dillon's doing it.
No, Tim Dillon's not.
Tim Dillon's not gonna do it. Trying to kill
FaceTime him right now.
Tim Dillon's gonna have a headache.
Tim Dillon's not doing it.
Tim Dillon's doing
Tim
it.
Dillon's planning on doing it.
Tim Dillon's doing it. Shane Gillis is doing it.
He's doing it. That's 3.5 miles. They're not doing it.
It's like 3.1, buddy.
Tim Dillon's not doing it.
Doesn't he say he would?
You're
great.
Our first place prize.
3.5 miles, same goes, same
Just
goes.
completed.
Oh, but it's the best.
I used to run 3 miles.
Was when I went in.
I was
somebody, they go, sit here.
I don't even want to do it right now. I probably couldn't do it right now, to be honest.
Yeah, you're just waiting.
As someone who could do it,
Yeah,
I probably
back
can't
from
do
break.
it.
All right, so they walk you in the room and
Out
they
of
see you
no
here.
shape, like
The
just
guy
fucking off the
could
couch.
not be less interested. He's like reading the paper.
What radio station? Tell it.
So he's it's in the Northeast. But he
I'm
goes,
going one more time.
He goes,
I
all
don't
right,
find my shit.
we'll be back from the break
I'm
in
never
30
going
seconds.
after it again. I just want those water buckets.
Just take over.
Steel.
And I
It's
go,
like,
what? Just take over.
I
Like,
need to
what are you
fucking
talking
feed my
about?
plants.
It's just your shit.
Just want my water buckets for my plants. That's so much to ask, for fuck's sake. Walking to the lake and back is I'm fucking suicide. I don't think I've done it once so far successfully.
And he goes,
You gotta make a safe highway of the water and back.
last week he took all his clothes off, and I go, how'd that play on radio? Is that a fucking your audience? And then it was like, you're on, and this guy was fucking scrambling. Like, wow. He read my fake bio. I had a fake bio.
That's his internet.
So it was all like made up, and it was like, you played for the Bengals? And I was like, yeah. He was like, he was asking me all the fake questions, and he starts sweating, and he has his co-host who doesn't know how to also navigate, but they were just, to me, they embodied like lazy, disinterested, and they were like unhappy in this market doing what they do, and they were just like, take over. And I was like, fuck you. Yeah.
That's the best thing. It's the best thing about him. I would have scrambled.
He really doesn't give a fuck.
You just go, no, that's not cool.
You realize how many times me and you, maybe I'm saying maybe not me and you, but like just went in and did the dance.
Yeah.
And that's why I look up to you, because it's the coolest thing about you is that you really don't give a fuck.
It is nice.
It's so cool to not give a fuck. It's so sexy. Like, it's not, when you give a fuck, it's a little sad sometimes. You know?
I think I give a fuck about certain things.
Yeah, right. But when you don't give a fuck, I really tried to comment. You do not give a fuck. You do not give a fuck. You know the perfect amount of fucks.
I think it's like a balance.
No. It's the right balance. No, it's detrimental. To what? To him.
How so?
Well, if I read his comments, I'd be like, start giving a fuck.
Yeah, but who's writing those comments? You can't read comments.
I do.
The people that are writing them, you get a disproportionate amount of failures. You're getting a disproportionate amount of people that are just, for sure. But it's not, if you're trying to get like a control study of the population, general population, if you're doing a pharmaceutical study, you have a bunch of old people, a bunch of young people, different walks of life. You got to do it right. You do it with a bunch of biological variability.
the variability of people that are wanting to comment negatively online is like, you can find those people. They don't have this shit together.
That's
There
the
are
people with
men.
dizziness.
Some kids.
A
A
lot
lot
of
of them are
people are
kids. They're real young. Some
I
of
think
them, they
most
think
of
it's fun. They're trying to get a reaction. They don't know what to do. They just try to like shit on you and see if you respond. It's a nonsense way to communicate.
It is nonsense.
You don't know who they are. You don't know what their background is. You don't know whether their
I
opinion
think
is
my stuff's
valid.
gone.
You're accepting negativity.
I don't think
Human
that
beings have
mushrooms
a
happen much
natural
anymore.
propensity to look towards negative
Life is
things
growing up.
because your brain is
Moved
programmed to
on.
look for
No one
intruders and
listens to me.
dangerous things. So you get look at 100 people in your village that you love, and you see
know
one
else to
person
look.
that doesn't love you that's standing on a hillside, 50 yards away, and you get scared. Sure. Like, oh shit, what's that? And that's what that is. That's what comments are. It's just you're hijacking your natural system.
That's why I think even the positive ones are pretty.
That's why I love him. He says,
No. Because I remember there was a time I was getting negative. When the movie came out, I was getting a lot of negative shit. And
I did die.
I texted Tommy. I was like, "Can you just take a look at it and see if it's real?" Because I can't look at it. It fucks me up. So I just stopped looking at it. I hired someone to do it for me. But I don't trust them. I don't trust you. No. Just to like monitor them. And then Tommy read them and he's like, "That's actually kind of sweet." You're like, "It's not that bad." I was like, "Oh, for real?" And he's like, "Yeah, I love that."
You're gonna have a certain amount of people that fucking hate everything.
Because you're big.
We were talking in the green room the other night. I was talking about this person who wrote this. They were talking about all-time great guitarist, and they said Hendrix was mostly noise.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is the craziest fucking thing I've ever heard anybody
Trying to be
say.
abrasive. That's like, no, you like him, you just don't like him as much as everyone else does.
No, it's just it's a contrarian perspective.
A lot of people like to do that too.
Yeah,
This guy
shit on the thing that's the
like,
best.
they don't suck. You think they're a B plus.
Yeah, it's
Everyone
also
else thinks
fun.
they're
Don't you think
legends.
it's fun sometimes just to provoke?
Yeah, it is.
Not
me. Not me. You definitely you are. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, you're number one at that.
You love it. Just to provoke. Just like, let me get a rise.
Yeah, it's a fun way to initiate a conversation.
Yeah. Not me. I cruise by. So I keep my head down.
Read those comments, huh?
Yes, you do. You just said you do. No. Tommy's comments. I read Tommy's.
You don't read yours?
No, I do
Ever. Not ever?
Never.
Yeah, he says he paid someone to do it.
And I ain't taking a shit.
I hate when people do that shit. Like, if I say something, I fucking mean it. Don't question me again. Multiple fucking times. Like, if I say something, I mean it. You can ask me 1,000 times to do the same thing, but I don't answer. Same question 20 times. It just makes you feel like you don't care. You're not listening.
You don't think
that
you think we're the same?
I think we're so similar.
That's fascinating.
Buddy, me and you, if we slept in bed together, we'd fight over the sheets.
I don't think so. I'm not a sheet fighter.
Then I would be up.
I would want you to have an equitable amount of the sheets. Just if I would assume there's enough sheets for two people.
What part of you, you have to identify with me a little bit. I know I drive you nuts.
That's interesting.
I know I drive you nuts at times. And I know
How do you guys feel about what he's saying?
About you guys
We're
being
the same thing?
I mean, no, I think there's similarities in everyone, but I think you're pretty different people.
Like, I think as far removed as can stay in my friend group. I told you what I think.
Can I tell you how I feel about you? Can I tell you how I feel about you? Can I tell you how I feel about you? When Nate Diaz says, I didn't get bullied, I had a big brother.
Right.
I think you're my big brother.
Right. Sweetie.
I do. I feel like I have a big brother. I've said that to you, and I've said that to you.
I think you guys approach things very differently.
We do. And I think I drive you fucking nuts.
No, you don't.
Sometimes, too. I know I drive me nuts.
You drove me nuts during Sober October.
You bring out this competitive spirit.
You let there's a fucking monster in there. You let him out of the cage.
But I love your monster. Yeah, like the way a younger brother would like needling his big brother. I like your monster.
Here's one of the big things I think is super different is that he approaches things of like, all right, if I want to be proficient at this thing, I'm going to do it every day because that's how you get good, the consistency and the discipline.
Yeah.
And you go, you know what? I think I can wing this shit. That's one of the big, philosophical differences of how you approach life.
Yeah. But I listen to your podcast all the time. And I love the way your brain thinks. I would never listen to my podcast. Like, I like the way your brain thinks.
I'm just curious. That's the way my brain thinks. I'm always just trying to figure out why I think what I think and why this other person thinks what they think.
But I do that. I do the same in a flip-flop. Like, I like the way your brain thinks, but it's not the way my brain thinks. I have no discipline. I don't like discipline.
One of the cool things about hanging out with different walks of life, you obviously become very successful with claiming you have no discipline.
You do have some discipline.
You don't.
You know what secret time
There it is.
I go to? I lean on you.
That's the mushroom that I died next to.
Real need. Like when I
All my stuff's right here.
cardiologist, I was like, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. And you were like,
We can go home, guys. My stuff is gone.
And so I do that. The problem is, and I would say this honestly, just
There's
already,
my experience
privately, but like,
proof that my stuff is gone.
before you were you.
My water buckets
We
are
knew you
gone.
before this thing. So
Oh,
like, I know you.
sucks.
And I know who you've become. And I obviously respect that. I really do. But like, my Joe guy I knew is you.
Fuck.
Is you. And
That's
I've
annoying.
changed that much.
no, it's a perception of you that's changed. Yeah. And so everyone else falls into that with a lot of famous people.
I had nothing to do.
And so they don't get treated as who they really are.
I think I've
The second
improved my
time. The
perspective
first
on
time I
things
did.
and the way I'm
That I
treating
did.
people. I've grown.
I don't know.
You're a better person.
Hungry.
I mean, honestly, you're an amazing person.
The waffle right there.
But I will always know you
Yeah,
as the
hello.
dude that walked me into his house. I will never know you as this thing.
Oh,
Like, this thing is pretty fucking insane. It's just like cool for you, but that's not.
But my version of it is fairly small.
You've been pretty good at keeping
Because I hang around the same people. I go to the clubs. I go to I work. I do all the things I have to do. It's not just that I have new friends. It's just like I fucking torture myself. So like my perspective is balanced. Yeah. Like the worst thing that happens during my day is probably not as bad as what I've done to myself. So like I go into every day with like a baseline. So like, I can handle shit.
That hasn't changed you at all.
No, it's the best way to regulate things. Like what Henry Rollins was saying in that essay, it's the best way to regulate things. It's the best way to keep a perspective on things. You don't want to become a tyrant. You don't want to become like enamored with power and enamored with influence. I'm not interested.
You're not a guy who says, "Do you know who I am?"
I'm not interested. You don't need to at all. If you don't know who I am, I'm happy. I would love to talk to a dude who doesn't know me.
That's my favorite.
Oh my god, it'd be fun. Talk to
When was the last time you had that? Where someone was like,
You can tell
"What do you do for a living?"
Sometimes people bullshit you.
It's great. It's great.
Sometimes people
This
pretend
is
they don't
real.
know who you are.
Tommy's got friends that I've met that I go, "What do you do for a living?" And I get fucking angry. I go, "How do you not know who I am?" The dentist or whatever, the guy lives next door to you.
Yeah.
So this, what do you do for a living? I'm fucking shut down.
I had this fancy lunch once with Eric Fontana. Eric Weinstein invited me to this lunch with Eric Fontana. Eric Fontana, guys, who wrote The Chariots of the Gods. He wrote that book about ancient aliens coming down here and building the pyramids, all this wild shit. And he knew that I was going to build it. He knew I knew everything about this guy. I knew everything about his book. I watched his documentary multiple times. I've seen all the criticisms about it. I want to have this conversation with him, find out why he thinks the way he thinks. But when he said, "What do you do for a living?" Because he didn't know who I was like, "I'm a comedian." And Weinstein started laughing. And he goes, "Well, he's, I go, "I'm a comedian." And he started explaining the podcast and all the different stuff. But I was like, just tell me what you think. Yeah. Tell me what you think and why you think. Sure. If you ask me what I do,
Change the answer.
yeah, it's also, it's like, I like that he didn't know who I was. Like, this is wonderful. Yeah, this is wonderful. Like, this is a nice conversation. Totally. And respectfully, why do you believe this? And why do you ignore all the evidence? It seems to lead to an advanced civilization that built this. That we have a rebuilding of advanced civilizations today. That's much more plausible. But his whole business is sort of, once you have an initial assertion, you write a book about it, make a documentary about it, everybody's going to say, like, you can't change your opinion because that book's still on the shelf. I bought your fucking book. Your book's bullshit. Books what I thought back then. I didn't know any better. That was a good one.
It's funny, people tell me that you don't know who they are.
I knew everything about him.
Yeah.
I had studied him for so long. I had studied his film. I watched his film multiple times because his film asks real questions. Like, how the fuck did they do this? There's some stones in Lebanon and some fucking crazy quarried stones. Like, how the fuck were they planning on moving this? They had abandoned stones, there was a crack in it, and so they moved on. So they have the evidence of how they actually quarried these things. It's organization that those all those ancient big structures.
When you think about it, think how we build things today, you see these things built, and it's like 100,000-pound stone.
It's the best evidence that people were more advanced back then.
Exactly. And then you go, and then not only is it like together, whereas it's seamless between two.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put a piece of paper between
It's
two
all aqueducts. What they did was probably follow a line of innovation that's different from the line we follow.
One that we can't really relate to innovation.
We follow combustion engines, industrial evolution, manufacturing at large scale. That's what we follow.
Yeah.
What they follow is probably something very different.
So
It had to do with frequencies and sound and how you could bore through stone. They had diamond drills.
Do you think if they saw our stuff, they'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they'd probably be like weirded out by the internet.
Oh, yeah.
If they didn't have it. The thing is, like, if you have electronics and you leave them on the ground, they don't exist in 100 years. They will get absorbed by the earth. Within 1,000 years, there's no trace. You'll find the minerals that are in the batteries and all that stuff that won't break down. There'll be nothing left. It's nothing. If you watched buildings that were in Detroit that people abandoned, you see trees growing through those buildings very quickly, man. Houses, cars, you see a car that gets left in the woods, it just gets broken down to rust, and within 1,000 years there will be nothing. So if there was some shit that existed, like the conventional dating of the Great Pyramid is 2,500 BC. That's under heavy speculation. The real belief is it's probably guys from John Anthony West and Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson. They point towards a possibility of a super sophisticated civilization more than 11,000 BC.
See, I think that's the thing that I've never really considered is that you always go, oh, they had like an archaic system that just worked, right? Like levees and
no.
you know what I mean?
Like they had like electronics and like
I never
ray
considered
guns
that.
and stuff.
Never considered that.
You think we have to be the best
We have to.
instead of this
The
start
way
over,
they
this start over,
moved
that start over.
things, they moved things that were thousands of pounds.
It's crazy.
Through
Like,
the mountains.
If another 500 years pass from here, how much technological advance? If that all gets wiped out, it'll get started over, and we'll be at
Exactly.
low level. They'll be like, well, they were
Exactly.
advanced. I'm the same way as you. It's like, it doesn't make sense.
Exactly. So you have.
Could you think of like
if everything
collapsed
collapsed right
carrying
now.
a rock?
Right.
Yeah. If we just had to live from now on, the human race evolves from the genes of the preppers. If that's it, preppers. People that have fucking bunkers in their fucking backyards and canned peaches and the fucking, what's that religious guy that sells survival food on TV? You know, those are the Jim Baker.
Oh yeah.
Remember? Buckets of survival food. You can use this as a stand for your table. They're eating at the dinner table with like buckets of survival food under it.
Time bucket prep.
Yeah. If you're one of those dudes, man, and that's all that lives, these survival prep. I mean, how long would it take for one of these dullards in the crowd? Look at these dull-minded, great-brained people. Look at what are the chances those people could invent the fucking?
That's your joke. If I dropped you off in the middle of the woods with a hatchet, how long so you can send me an email?
Yeah, it'd be millions of years. You have access to all the tools that people have ever created. Yeah, look at that stuff. Where is that, JV?
Egypt, the unfinished obelisk, like in theory they would have
Raised it up.
taken it out.
So there was an obelisk they cut into the stone, and they had the technology to not only cut that, but unfortunately some of that stone would crack, and they would have to abandon it. But they had to pick it up and move it hundreds of miles.
Wow.
And they did it routinely.
There's no way to grasp that unless you think the technology was other level. Like
Not only that, dude, there's a lot of evidence that even the Great Pyramid is a more recent creation to some of the older kingdom work. The deeper they go into the sand, on some of the structures, they'll find, like as they start excavating, that there's another structure underneath it. And then they uncover that. And the older they uncover them, it seems like the larger the stones were, the more complex the systems were. It's wild shit, man. These people were doing something a long fucking time ago. And if you listen to guys like Robert Schoch, who's a geologist from Boston University, he studied the erosion marks on the outside of the Temple of the Sphinx. He said this is indicative of thousands of years of rainfall that created this. That's the way you get these kind of fissures in the stones. The only time there was rainfall in the Nile Valley was like 9,000 BC. So you got to go back thousands of years to predate that. Because you have thousands of years of rainfall. When is rainfall? All that area, like the Sahara Desert, used to be a fucking tropical rainforest. If all this shit happened before we were fucking driving diesel trucks and full-fed plants, the world has been in a constant state of flux forever. In that area where they initially established the kingdom of where Giza was and Cairo is and all those areas, that area was lush with resources. That's probably why they advanced there for so long. They did some wild shit in this one area. There's wild structures all over the earth they found. Nothing compares to what they did in Africa. Nothing, not one thing is anything like the Great Pyramid of 2,300,000 stones. Moved from quarries hundreds of miles away, cut in a perfect position, true north, south, east, and west. It's fucking wild what they did, and I think they were probably more advanced than we. That's what I think. And when you see it firsthand, like going to Machu Picchu, up in the Andes, you're like, what? How did they build this up in the mountain? Just imagine if everything collapsed right now. What people would be like 200 years from now? They'd be fucking barbarians. Totally. They'd be walking dead people, living in little groups and tribes, trying to stay alive, and eventually they would rebuild. I think it would take forever, and I think that's what happened. Do you ever think about that, you go, technology exists with the same things that were available, like, hundreds of years before, thousands of years, hundreds of thousands, same, there is nothing that's new here. We just were able to develop our phone. And every technology based on previous technology.
The tree,
radio.
that civilization had never had radio.
So if someone invents something quicker, that's different, like if someone invents nuclear fission, like way early, then everybody's like, whoa, or someone invents cold fusion, way early. You're like, okay, but now we've solved this energy problem. Now we can move in a different direction. Or stops a plague early. Yeah, early. That allows you to, do you think all the technological stuff that has evolved is with the theory that we're borrowing from, we've taken from basically alien life, leaving technology here, or giving us hints? No, I think the alien technology thing is fascinating, but it might also be bullshit. You always have to look at all these things that are public and that are talked about, and the Pentagon releases things about, might be bullshit. You always have to think it might be bullshit. Every time I look at any phenomenon, whether it's UFOs, UAPs, whatever the fuck you want to call them, I always say to myself, if I was the military and I had some top secret drone program that moved through a totally unique and novel propulsion system that operated on gravity, and that we figured out how to do this, we move it around, and I would be testing in exactly the same places these people were testing. They were testing in all this restricted airspace where they would run these military drills. They did it off the East Coast and they did it off the West Coast. So where they're seeing these things is exactly where the military runs their tests. I would assume that if I was the military, that's how I would think. I would hide things by saying they're UFOs and saying we have no idea what this is. And if you have top secret programs, 100% know they do. And if you have a theory of propulsion that's based on gravity and not on igniting combustible fluids like rocket fuel, which we definitely have, and they have since I believe the 1950s, they first started theorizing about magnetic systems. They probably have been developing this forever. They've probably been doing it in secrecy, and probably China's doing it as well. And the best way to hide it, I would imagine, would be to say that this is something from another world. Also, we might be visited by other worlds. Also, we might be visited by things from other dimensions. I think it might be all of the above. And I don't think you can count out any of them just because of the fact that we know there's planets. And if we know there's planets, they're far enough away from the sun that the water doesn't boil and nothing freezes. If they're in that Goldilocks zone, maybe life can develop. And we know that there's a shit ton of those out there. We found a bunch of them already. So if they're out there, we would assume that something would be like us plus 100 years, plus 500 years. And they would want to go to these other planets, these crazy functions, with tools, trying to start fires by knocking sticks together. And we would say, let's radio. That's what I think that's what they do. And that's what this Diana Sullivan is saying about researchers were describing these crashed UFOs as donations. So if I was from somewhere else, where there was another dimension or another planet, and I wanted to accelerate the technological innovation by these beings, I would give them $5. You know, figure that out. Furnish this thing, back engineer it, figure it out, get your brightest minds, lock everybody down, shoot everybody with a big mouth, and figure out how to fucking make this. And that, I think that's what the Bible our stories are.
Yeah, I got lost. Yeah. It sounds cool.
What'd you get lost in?
When you started all the shit, I was like, it's funny, I was listening to your podcast,
You are while it's out there.
I love your brain.
Next time, we'll take that. I'll take that, man.
Today I gotta listen to such a search was all about naps.
Is everybody coming to the show tonight?
Yeah.
What time your show? 7 o'clock?
Let's go up the boat. Yeah.
What time is it now? That's 5:43. Oh, so 6, basically. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Let's have some fun.
Denver, I'm coming first week of March. Something related.
Oh, you look depressed.
No, not at all.
Are we gonna wear this to the feathers? Yeah, let's go to the show.
Yeah.
Let's go to the show.
We're doing a show tonight? For real?
Yeah.
7 o'clock.
Are you just doing shit?
I just talking about, you've never done fake comedy drunk. I've never done comedy drunk. I have done comedy drunk.
You definitely have done comedy.
Come a long way to admit that, Beth. Yeah. What is this? Just really drunk.
What is that? Oh, that is a mammoth ivory handle for a 1911, which is a type of pistol.
Oh, it goes in like that. Okay.
Yeah, you have to get it fit for 1911.
Are we really doing a spot tonight?
What is this really? Are you a professional?
I am. Yeah, I am.
You can come and just watch us.
Not doing that. I cannot get on stage.
They can take all that shit off in the time it takes.
Take a second.
No, give me time.
I start off like John Mulaney, like very, like tactile.
But you're gonna keep it on, right?
No.
No?
No, I realized in taking it off, I'm a different person without my shirt off. Keep it on.
Keep it on. Keep it on for the show tonight. Listen, Clark Kent. We're all gonna wear it. Clark Kent with your stupid glasses. I know who you are, bitch.
Clark Kent was the alter ego.
Clark Kent with your stupid glasses. I know, it's Superman.
Superman's this real person.
Yeah, duh. What the fuck is this guy doing? Come on. Do you think I've watched the TV show? Do you think I've read the comics?
Same thing with Hulk. Come on, dude.
Yeah, what are you saying? Don't change.
I had a really good set with a suit on.
You already have shoulders, bro. You're jacked. You don't even have to take your shirt off. You can still kill. You can kill with a suit and a tie on.
Yeah, I stuck your shoulders.
I know you love that pop when you take your shirt off, and it is a wild pop. It's a wild pop, buddy. We watched it last Tuesday night. It's a big pop.
That's the last recorded.
You're like, you gotta take your shirt off? You see it inside. You gotta take his shirt off? I remember when he wouldn't take his shirt off in the OR. That's what not the OR. Not the OR. It's young. You would not like it. Do you do it now?
You would not like it. Yeah.
Let's get something to eat.
The only one there.
Let's get something to eat. Oh yeah, you only one there. Let's get something to eat and go.
Want to get something to eat?
And go. Yeah, it's 5:25. Whatever you want.
I would love that.
Let's go to Eddie V's. Level steaks. Like gentlemen wearing suits.
I would love that.
Let's go right right now. Let's go. All right. This podcast is over. Love you guys. I love you too. Listen, this has been 2 months. For all these years of us doing this, it's been it's been fun. We've had a good time. It's been wild fun. New civilizations will never have this. Yeah, I mean, they're going to lock this down. You know, no network would ever allow it. No fucking producers would ever bank their mortgage on this being something. They'd be like, guys, let's talk about what you said there. Guys, better line than survival of it right now. Let's go eat some steak. All right. I love you guys. Bye, everybody.
Like, comment, and subscribe.